Hey, what's happening, my friends? I'm out in Indiana doing some pistol rifle classes, doing some good training in the great state of Indiana. But I'm reacting to headlines as the federal government is now passing student loan forgiveness, which there's no such thing. It's just passing on student loans from the person who took them out to the taxpayer, and that's all it is. Remembering that the government doesn't produce any money, they just abscond it from people and driving up that tax bill. So I wanted to react to that, but mainly I wanted to ask you guys all one question, and the question is this: at what point of taxation do people just say, you know, screw it, I'm not doing it anymore? Now, I pay my taxes diligently, down to the cent. I've got multiple accountants that help me do that, and I don't have any plans of changing that, but I'll just go ahead and level with you. I pay a lot of taxes, a lot. It's extremely difficult to be able to pay taxes and stay in business. Frankly, it's overwhelming. Now, I'm not complaining, because you are in the exact same position as I am. Depending on kind of your bracket, you at least pay January, February, March, and April to the federal government. And that means the first 4 months of the year, you literally work for nothing except the government if you have a full-time job. That's accounting for income tax and all the other taxes. I mean, your cell phone has a tax, your car has a tax, you got property tax, you got sales tax when you buy stuff, you have income tax, you have your local taxes, your state taxes, and you are taxed to death. Now, it may not be that the first 4 months of the year you just are working for the government. Everyone is. It could be that the very first 6 months of the year, it's all for the government. January through May, it's all just for the government. And all the rest of the months, you get to be able to keep most of that. Now, it's very hard to even go into business. Most businesses don't turn a profit in the first 2 years, and that's really because some 30, 35, 40% of your income, your net income, is being taxed to such a degree, which should really be going into growing your business, marketing efforts, and all that other stuff. And I'm just saying that strain, that government of, like, if you didn't pay them $20 you're delinquent on, I mean, they could throw you in jail. And now we have the government bloat going more and more, and billions of dollars here and there. And I mean, it's dizzying to look at these just different headlines as more and more taxes are being added on. Now, I know what our government bloat, our huge rulers, are trying to do. If they can't get socialism, which means unlimited power for them indefinitely, that's what they want. What people in power want one thing: they want more power for longer. That's what they're after. And if they can't get us to vote for socialism, which is basically giving them that power they want indefinitely, what they can do is amounts to the same thing. They just add more and more taxes on, more and more bloat, so it accomplishes the same thing. The government owns you and all property and everything. And I'm just wondering, at what point do people just not able to actually make ends meet? It's already happening. As crippling credit card debt has climbed more in the last couple of months than any time really in recent memory. Perhaps it's a historic high ever. And the cost of goods has been skyrocketing, and diesel and inflation is taking off. And so all of it is pretty darn grim. But my real question that I'm pondering is at what point will people just say of, like, I have to choose between survival and paying for all this crap that the government's issuing? I'm like, sending trillions of dollars abroad, and then all these student loans as well, which are forgiven, which get passed on to the normal taxpayer. I'm hearing something to the effect of what this recent passing does, which he shouldn't have the power to do in the first place, will pass on $2,000 of extra cost per taxpayer. I'm like, oh, man. And when you think about that, now it's effectively taken academic education, university, and made it a government subsidy. If government's basically paying for anyone to go to college, now that will eventually be, if not now, but it starts to precedent now, and eventually it'll react to the same thing, that the government is basically, it's state-owned, right? And so they own academia, and then what could they push? And I think it's already happening in large part. So, Clown World 2022. But I return to my question. At what point will folks just say, hey, I can't survive doing that, you know? And I can't comply with that. I don't know. What happens when your effective tax rate of you're really working 75% of the year just to be able to give to the government? What happens when it's 90% of all the fruits of your labor go to taxes? What happens when it's 100%? Well, that's kind of a real end game. That just means that we have a pure socialist, Marxist, communistic system, and freedom itself has died as the government really owns you, owns the medical industry, owns the energy sector, owns you and me. I don't know, but now it makes a lot of sense that the Biden administration has hired another 86,000 IRS agents, and you see them training with guns, and even the, basically job flyer of like, hey, come work for the IRS, 86,000 new job openings, must be ready to use lethal force. And it's kind of like, perhaps they know, well, not perhaps, they know exactly where all this is heading. They know that we're getting to a point where folks are just going to say no. And so they need to go out and get loan sharks to be able to collect at the end of a gun, because you'll have to choose between livelihood and taxes. Well, you choose livelihood. Well, not if someone's pointing a gun at you. And this seems like, holy cow, we can't be there. But there's so much that has gone down in the last few years that I never dreamed would have happened in the past. And yet here it is. And so I can't naively suspend that could never happen again, because it's all happening. It's wild, wild stuff. And I really don't know how to process it. I don't know where the line in the sand is where Americans finally say, I'm not doing that. I'm not paying for that. I'm not giving you my taxes for that anymore. Of like, man, my tax dollars supporting abortion or drag shows or woke universities that despise me and my values, sending all kinds of aid, leaving $80 billion of important critical munitions behind in Afghanistan to arm the Taliban. I mean, this is crazy, crazy stuff. At what point will the taxpayer say, I'm not giving you another dollar for that? And then there's going to be a problem. And we got a lot of IRS agents ready to step in the gap and help you solve that problem. I'm not making any declarations or anything. I'm just saying, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Really, not just the comment heroes in the comments, but really, where's your line in the sand? Where is too much too much? And what in the world do we do about it? Now, I'm hoping we just clean up at midterms and we get these old rhinos out, and whether you're libertarian or conservative or whatever, just I want government smaller so people can be bigger. When the government is huge, the person is small. When the person is big, the government is small. And you can't, it is a mutually exclusive option. It is one or the other. And I basically want to be able to handle my life, and I want government to stay out of it. And I'd love to be charitable to my fellow man. But I was thinking about this as well. Forced charity isn't charity, it's theft. It's like somebody carjacks you, they take your car. Well, that's kind of a forced charity. You gave them a car. Now, it was under duress, but similarly, that's kind of what has happened as well. When you don't agree with something, a new tax is passed. You had no real say-so in it. They take more and more and more and then do it for things that you ideologically despise. And so, man, I don't have a big resolution. I just want you to feel this with it. Now, I really want to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what you think. But when would enough be enough? What would that look like? But come on, midterms. Get our country back. I miss my country. As a patriot, as a veteran, as a warrior poet, I love people. I love freedom. And I really miss what we used to be. How about you? Train hard, train smart, and stay free somehow.